Well, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel, the sovereign nation of Israel, scattered and not destroyed. I want to welcome y'all all to another Shabbat Day class here at the Awakening Remnant Coalition, Dallas. Forgive me, we got a little sinus stuff going on. Once again, this is your brother, your boy, Yemi'el bin Yahuda. More right here at the RDW. We have been in the book of Exodus for, I want to say the bigger part of 3 months now. And we have been learning about what happened to our people as we left out of bondage in Mizraim or Israel. I mean, in Egypt. Which y'all gotta forgive me. But I want to tell everybody it is great to be here. I'm glad that you all stopped through. To each person that is in the bushes or backstage is represented, I pray peace and blessings upon your family. May you enjoy this coat, this holy week of booths that we are in right now. You see, I'm not in a booth, I'm inside right now. Um, we had to go and take care of some family issues, my wife and I. Yeah, we ask that your prayers be with us as well and our family during this time of, and we just ask that we pray our strength in our Father Yah as we go on. Okay, so we've been talking last couple of weeks. We went into chapter 34 and 35, and we were talking about what was purchased, what was donated by the children of Israel for the tabernacle, for the beginning building of the tabernacle. So now, as we go forward, I want to discuss some things. To all of you that are here on this page, this Shabbat day, which is Sabbath, and this is a high Sabbath for its first day of Sukkot. I wanted to talk to you about furnishing your tent or furnishing your booth. There are certain things that we have to do as a people. And our problem is that we have been so conditioned, according to Western standards of religion, that we have honestly lost focus and lost track of who we are, who we belong to, whose we are. Matter of fact, we've allowed Western religion to get us caught up in a bunch of traps. Um, Remember that our Abba Father had a way of doing things, and He subscribed that way in the Word so that we, His people, would know how to follow His instructions. The very word Torah, which is Hebrew, is basically, it's even been translated wrong. It's not law, it is instruction. Torah is Yah's instructions for His people. And this book of the instruction is to teach us how to enter in the relationship with our Elohim or our God. I hate to use that word God because in further studies you'll understand what it means. But for those who are not completely in Torah and who are going through the process of waking up, I use that word to help you. But our Elohim gave us instruction so that we would then know how to communicate, to have relationships with Him. Um, and this is one of the things that I want to make very clear to people as we move forward in what we're doing is that our Father is holy and sovereign, and His way does not change, nor does His will concerning us. It has not changed from the beginning of time, and it will not change now. This is important for you to know and to understand. Shabbat Shalom, Sister Jamie. This is very important to know because there is a certain code of conduct that the Father has for us. Um, you have been tricked to believe that He had one set of rules for us before Christ and another set of rules after Christ or after the Messiah or after the Hamashiach came. And I hate to, I really hate for you to understand this, but His rules have not changed. They were the same from the beginning and they will go until the very end of time itself. This is very important for you to know because in this, you will find your salvation. Um, Yeshua's sacrifice is for naught if you don't keep the law, because the sacrifice was of the law. It was carried out through the law, and his very being was the law. In the beginning was the Word was Yah, and the Word was with Yah. And nothing that was made without him. And so we understand that if the Word was in the beginning, then the Word is also in the end. And the Word that is written does not change. Um, it just doesn't. What's going on, Courtney? And I want to make this very clear for those who are searching for something, those who are looking for something, those who've been lied to. I teach from this perspective because I understand that I am a chosen descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I understand that I am the people of the book. And I understand that that book was written for our people. And it was written so that we, as a people, could progress and move forward in His truth. So, this is why I come to you today. This is why I come to you every Shabbat. And I try to teach you the book, not doctrines of man, but the book. Because when you learn the book, you can then understand how to enter in relationship with your Father, who is our Elohim, who is our, and His Son, who is our Messiah. This is very important for us going forward because you have to then understand how this thing must be furnished. The temple is a representation of a place of meeting. It should represent, the tabernacle should represent you. You should be that place where the Father can then dwell in so that you can receive relationship with Him. The Messiah knew, like I said before in Matthew chapter 24, that the temple in Jerusalem would be destroyed by General Vespasian and his son Titus. So he understood that there would be no place for us to make sacrifices anymore. There would be no place where the, the Spirit of the Father met with the people. There would be no more place of meeting. This is why he really told us that the temple would now dwell inside of us. Um, this is very important going forward. This is something that you have to understand and you have to learn. Um, a lot of our holy days, our feast days, are incorporated with us returning back to the land um, of of Israel, or going back to Yerushalayim, which is Jerusalem. These things are very important for us because in going to Yerushalayim, we go to the place where his name is. That's why when you read Deuteronomy, Leviticus, it always talks about sacrifices being made in the place where the Father's name is. Now, if we are his people who are called by his name, then the place of sacrifice now is in you. And I want you to I want to make this very clear. If you have fitted your tabernacle, your body, where he can then indwell in you, then you are the place of sacrifice now. And I want y'all to get this understood. This is not a physical place of sacrifice, but we are saying that you are carrying out the laws and statutes and commandments in your person where he dwells. I'm not saying that you are the temple. I'm saying that you are a representation of that temple. You should be that place where he would indwell, because that's where he made his seat in the earth realm. Brother Yosef, pleasure seeing you this weekend.
Shalom, my brother.
I'm down in Giddings, um, with my wife, and I see that you're having a good Shabbat.
Yes, sir. We're here with brother Gabriel and his family
Yes.
out here in is this North Lake? I believe it is.
Yeah.
Well, we miss you, brother. We
Oh
miss you.
man,
We wish
I
you were
sh-
here.
I should be back home. I should be back in town hopefully tomorrow, maybe Monday. Not sure. It just depends on how things are playing out.
Hmm.
So, but I do miss you guys. You see the shirt, obey y'all's laws. Yeah, it's just a trying time. It's a time of reflection, you know. So I thank y'all for giving us the strength and the revenue, or the means to be able to come down here and spend some time with my in-laws during this time. Um, it's very important.
Yeah,
I try not to sleep lightly on the responsibilities given to me for the congregation, but you only get one mother-in-law.
absolutely.
So, we were in Exodus. We ended chapter 35 last week. And before we go into this, I want to let everybody know I've been praying and asking the Father where we should go from here. Um, we're gonna we're gonna cover the book of Exodus. I mean, the book of Genesis next. We're gonna cover the whole book of Genesis. I don't know how we're gonna do it. This book may take us a complete year to finish, because there's a lot of stuff in Genesis that you need to know. I kind of, I'm grateful to the Father that He allowed us to start in Exodus, because of what was going on in this season with the COVID, with the signs and all the things that were going on, to let everybody know that the Father is getting ready to free His people from this bondage that we're in. But I also know that there's a story in Genesis that you need to know going forward, so that you can help build your relationship with the Father. So, where we at?
I believe we're at Exodus 36, and let me just add, Brother Malak is here, and he's in the process of logging in, but we're all in very close proximity, so we're trying to work out the logistics of him getting in, getting on.
Ain't nobody
But
messing with
he's on his
Malak.
way.
Hey, ain't nobody messing with Malak today. I'm gonna give you the floor for a minute while I go get some water. So do what you always do.
All right, Shalom family to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, to those who are grafted in, to the ARC family worldwide, and to the ARC DFW. Shabbat Shalom. Happy Sukkot. As we take this time, we've going through this season. We've come out of Day of Atonement, and we're into Sukkot, Feast of Booths, or Feast of Tabernacles, and we're looking forward to the fellowship. Want to shout out to uh, Brother Yosh there in Fresno and to ARC all over the world. Want to give all thanks to the Most High, first of all, and give praises to Him and to His Son, Hamashiach, giving them all praise and glory to the Ruach HaKodesh, who has stirred up our spirits in these last days and has awakened us. And it's only by His Spirit, the Spirit of the Most High, that we have been awakened in these last days, because so many of our people are still yet asleep. And I just want to share, I want to thank Yemi for allowing me a few minutes just to address, just to speak to the family that I was sharing with a group. Uh, I ministered to a couple of groups that are still asleep, still in Christianity, but I put it in perspective for them. And I was sharing that it was no accident that the Most High, at the beginning of this, what we call the spring, He shut Easter down. And He put us in a situation to where, as far as the feast days were concerned, He shut Easter down. He was sick and tired of uh, that bunny rabbit Easter egg, 2.5 day, 1.5 day resurrection story. He shut Easter down, and he put the whole world in a situation where we were going to have to, whether we knew it or not, we were sheltering in place and forced to celebrate, forced to observe and celebrate the Passover, because that's how we began that Passover. You all remember how our people had to shelter in place with the blood on the doorpost, and the Most High says, "Listen, you need to get inside and put the blood on the doorpost, and if you want to live, if you want your firstborn to live." And so the Father did that during this Passover season, and also during this particular time, and only those who have awakened to the truth are going to be able to understand and put these times in perspective. Um, that during this season, we've gone through the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing it, but it was a day of judgment. It was a day of atonement, a day of judgment. And it is no accident that we've come out of Yom Kippur, that day of atonement, that day of judgment, and the so-called leader of the free world has come down with COVID. The one that called it a hoax, the one that didn't think it was a big deal, the one that thought it was going to just go away and disappear, and the one that would dare mock anybody who took precautions and things of that sort. That thing, we're coming out of Yom Kippur, and lo and behold, he's a victim of this virus, whatever you want to call it. And then moving into the Feast of Booths, to be able to put these things into perspective, we need to understand that uh, we. We built houses, and we live in so-called we're so-called homeowners, apartment buildings, condominiums, whatever. But any all of these things are merely tents. They're temporary dwellings. Let's not forget that. And it's a blessing to have a home, to have a place to stay. It's a blessing to have a roof over your head. It's a blessing to have your own front yard, your own backyard, a place that you can call your own. But we need to understand as we move into this season of Sukkot, brothers and sisters, that any place that we live in is a temporary dwelling. And so, apart from being awakened, apart from having that understanding and being able to put these things into perspective, uh, uh, many of our brothers and sisters, or many of our so-called people, are lost and they're without mooring or not able to catch their balance, and not able to understand the things that are going on around us in these last days. The Father has called us to. We were called to be a kingdom of priests, and so as priests, we are administrators and servants of the Most High, administrators and servants of His word. And so we are the ones that the Most High has chosen. Those of us who have awakened to following the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High. He has chosen us. And let me make that more specific, just in case you're not getting it. If you are awakened, the Father has chosen you to be a priest to those who are under your influence. That whether they receive it or not, they're going to know that we're celebrating Sukkot. We're celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles. Why we're celebrating it? The Father has chosen you. Yes, you, the one that's watching me, you. He's chosen you to be able to share that message with those of our loved ones, our co-workers, our friends who are asleep. And so we need to rejoice. In the midst of all of these things, we need to rejoice in the fact, and Brother Malak, who we've had so many conversations, just humbled by the fact that the Most High has chosen us in these last evil days. He's chosen us to be the ones to share that message. And so, again, in the midst of everything that's going on and seemingly going wrong, the Father has chosen His people, those who have awakened to the truth, to deliver the message to His people. He has called us to be a kingdom of priests. He hadn't called us to be kings and queens. Let's stop that lie. You know, we're not kings and queens, but we are a kingdom of priests and priestesses, if you will, to be able to share with our brothers and sisters in these last and evil days. And one last thing I want to share with you also, because coming out of Christianity, my heart goes out to my brothers and sisters in Christianity. We were conditioned in Christianity to believe that before anything like this happened, we would be raptured out, snatched out. If you had told any Christian that the churches were going to be empty on Easter Sunday morning, they would have told you, well, apparently the rapture has already happened. But the Father, He's turned all of those demonic doctrines up on their heads. And so, again, we want to have love and compassion for our brothers and sisters, but we also want to love them enough, because love rejoices in the truth. We want to love them enough to tell them the truth and to share the truth with them. And so, again, we're excited and delighted to be with you this morning, or this afternoon rather, and we're looking forward to what the Most High has in store for us. And our prayers with you, Moray, as you get ready to lead us through this word. And so we are in chapter 36, uh, Exodus chapter 36.
Okay, I want to share with y'all real quick before we go into the word, a conversation that I was having this morning with with one of my sisters, and we have a false narrative going around in the body that when the seals are broken, you're going to hear trumpets. And I want you to understand something, and this is something that I explained to her too. Do you understand that the narrative is this? That you're going to hear blasts of trumpets, and all these things are going to start coming into fruition. Well, we understand when you go back to the Hebrew narrative of a trumpet was used to sound the warning,
Hmm.
or to it was used to get your attention. It was an
Hmm.
attention getter. Um, Well, understand this, that signs are attention getters. So here we go. The last few years, there's been blood moons. Those were trumps. Those were trumpets. Those were signs to get your attention. The telling you that things were unraveling, things were about to come into another season, another decade. This the pestilence that we're going through now. And remember, I told you that those who remember that word pestilence means debar. It's the same word
Hmm.
as word, debar, debar. This is
Thank you.
to reorder that which is taken out of order. So when it's
Hmm.
kind of like playing a game of Scrabble, when you shuffle up all those little chips and then you take them and you put them on your rack, you place them in a certain order. That's what the Father means by the word pestilence. He puts things that were out of order back into order. Oh, boy, I don't know how I'm going to make it today, Father. Be with me. There are so many things that have been placed out of order that Yah has to put them back in order. That was why the people of Israel were freed in the first place, taken out of
Hmm.
captivity, because a nation of priests aren't supposed to be captive. Your situation right now is one that is not in order and is to be put back in order or set back straight. So, as we get ready to go into Exodus chapter 36, we're going to see the furnishings of the temple being manifested in how the people gave these these things to the priesthood so that they could construct the meeting place for the Father with his people. All right, let's go ahead and go into it.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Exodus chapter 36. Then wrought Bezaleel and Aholiab and every wise-hearted man, in whom Yahweh had put wisdom and understanding, to know how to work all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary, according to all that Yahweh had commanded. And Moses called Bezaleel and Aholiab and every wise-hearted man, in whom in whose heart Yahweh had put wisdom, even every one whose heart stirred him up to come unto the work to do it. And they received of Moses all the offering which the children of Israel had brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary, to make it withal. And they brought yet unto him free offerings every morning. And all the wise men that wrought all the work of the sanctuary came, every man from his work which they made. And they spake unto Moses, saying, the people bring much more than enough for the service of the work, which Yahweh had commanded to make. And Moses gave commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, let neither man nor woman make any more work for the offering of the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing,
Hold on,
for
hold
the
on,
stuff they
hold on,
had.
hold on. I got to stop you right there. So we've been going through this narrative that we were taught this narrative that the children of Israel were poor, they were weak, um, but contrary to this, when you read the story in Exodus, that we left out of bondage with great substance. We left out of bondage with riches. And through this and these riches that we have attained as I would say ransom or payment for the time served in captivity in Mizraim or in Egypt, we then took those things and offered them up as an offering, a free will offering at that, so that the temple could be built. Now, I want you to understand that even though we were a stiff necked people, when it came to the furnishing of the temple, you will see, and if you were with us last week, and even now, you are seeing that we gave in so much abundance that they basically had to stop us from giving.
Mm-hmm.
This is why the black church has made over $1 trillion in the last 30 years, because it's programmed in our DNA to give. This is why, and to forgive. This is why when we are done wrong and we are murdered, and you see that a lot of our people take the narrative of forgiveness, because you have to forgive to be forgiven. And
Mm-hmm.
it is something that is wedged in the DNA of the Hebrew man and the Hebrew woman, that no matter what we have suffered through, we still understand that forgiveness is key with the Father. And even though we get mad and we get upset and we don't want to, it's something in our DNA that makes us like that. That's just what I wanted to touch on real quick, brother. You can go ahead.
Okay. Verse 8. And every wise-hearted man among them that wrought the work of the tabernacle made 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue, and purple, and scarlet. With cherubims of cunning work made he them. The length of one curtain was 20 and 8 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits. The curtains were all of one size, and he coupled the 5 curtains one unto another, and the other 5 curtains he coupled one unto another. And he made loops of blue on the edge of one curtain from the selvage in the coupling. Likewise, he made in the uttermost side of another curtain in the coupling of the second. 50 loops made he in one curtain, and 50 loops made he in the edge of the curtain which was in the coupling of the second. The loops held one curtain to another. And he made 50 taches of gold, and coupled the curtains one unto another with taches. So it became one tabernacle. And he made curtains of goat's hair for the tent over the tabernacle. Even 11 curtains he made them. The length of one curtain was 30 cubits, and 4 cubits.
Malak, if you don't get away from Joe, if you don't get away from Joe, and two cannot share the same space, social
Yeah,
distancing.
yeah.
Social distancing, my brother. While we're in this break, let me explain something to you. The number 10 is the number of government. Is the representation of the Hebraic number of government. The number 5 is the number of grace.
Hmm.
So they built grace. When you look at grace, grace is the 5 forms of the law: the sacrificial law. Come on and help me, brothers. The sacrificial law,
The sacrificial law, the royal law, the civil law. Come on, Malak. The
ceremonial
civil
law,
law, the ceremonial law, the sacrificial law, the royal law, and I think it's the law of the Levitical priesthood, if I'm not mistaken.
the 5 facets of law. That's grace. Um, Also, 50 taches. The number 50 is the number of Jubilee. This number is the number of freedom. In 50, Jubilee, the season of Jubilee, all debts were paid. All, what Yah is awesome. All debts were paid off. Everything that you owed was made good. We realized that every seventh year debts were canceled anyway. But on the 50th year, if you were a slave, you were released. Oh yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
dietary law, dietary law. So sacrificial, dietary, civil. Um,
There we go.
um, thank you, twin.
Ceremonial and royal. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Dietary. That was the one I was missing. Yeah.
So those five facets of law is what gives you grace. The number five represents grace. It's always represented on the hand, the right hand. It is given freely. When you are forgiven, they lay hands on you. The right hand is laid on you. This is the hand of execution, which means the law is being executed. You are receiving grace. You are inside of the camp.
Mm-hmm.
Without that,
Mm-hmm.
you are lost. Okay, the 50, that represents the number of freedom. These patches, the season of Jubilee, the Jubilee year, are when you go into your 50th year of life, all things have been forgiven. You are released, you are set free. Um, Seventh year is the year of rest. Your debts are given away, are bought back or sold off. If you are a
Mm-hmm.
slave, you are allowed to be released. All these things are have something to do with numerology, and it's important for us to know these things because then you understand how the Father truly operates. And so, in the temple or in the tabernacle was built in certain reminders so that you were set free. It's no
Mm-hmm.
mistake that the veil was set up in a way that you had sections separated by not only grace but by jubilee. Man, I go ahead. I
I'm gonna take that just a step further.
run
In
with it.
light of again, for those of us that have been brought up in Christianity, we were taught and have been taught and are being taught to this day in Christianity that the grace and law does not mix. But what brother Yemi, Amore Yemi is teaching us out of this book in those numbers, at 5 is the number of grace, 10 is the number of government. So you have grace and government there together, operating together to do what? To provide us with liberty, with glory, with freedom. And this is what we're seeing here in the numbering of the tatches, the numbering of the loops, all of those numbers. The Father is infinite in His wisdom, and then, and our brothers, our Egyptology brothers, speaking of math and mathematics being the language of the Creator. And even in some of the pagan circles, when they put a heavy emphasis on numerology, the Father uses all of those things to portray to us the message of his. Yes, he's a gracious God and he forgives sin, but he's also a Yah of government, of law, and he uses both, not either or, but he uses both and to liberate his people. And so we will never be free in a lawless religion,
Right.
which is what the religion of Christianity is a lawless religion that despises the law. That's why you
Why?
got pimps and sodomites overrunning your churches.
Right.
That's why you have in every mega church in America is in the hood. The ones that are in the hood, you got that big, nice, pretty, empty building now, and around it you got a slum because we practice lawlessness.
Right.
And you cannot have liberty in lawlessness.
That's right. That's right.
This is why it's very important for us to understand that everything done by the Father had purpose. He did nothing for nothing. His words were important, they were binding. Everything he said, there was a meaning behind it. Everything that he did, there was a meaning behind it. This is why you have to seek out the truth. He's not
Mm-hmm.
going to just
Mhm.
give it to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Seek ye first the kingdom of Yah and his righteousness, and all things will be added unto you. But first, you have to seek.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very revealing how he thinks when he encodes and inscripts everything. Even his word is encoded and
Mm-hmm.
inscripted. And if you just take the word for what it is that you read, you are going to miss out on so much more
Mm-hmm.
because there are layers. Yah's word is like an onion, and it pulls back layers of infinite layers of knowledge. We, the brothers here at the Ark,
Mhm.
and I love Yosh, and I listen to Yosh's teaching, and Yosh's teaching can be somewhat deep, but so simplistic in its delivery that you see the onion peel back. When you listen to Brother
Mhm.
Malak and you listen to Brother Yosef, even though it seems deep, if you look at it in its very infancy, it is simplistic in its nature and it
Mhm.
peels itself back to expose what is in the inside. The temple is the very same way. When Yah speaks of this, it seems intricate, it seems detailed, but when you know what to look for, it
Mm-hmm.
becomes very simple and
Mm-hmm.
easy to catch on. Why were the candlesticks made with seven limbs on it?
Mm-hmm.
What does the number seven mean?
Mm-hmm.
Why
Mm-hmm.
were there fruit bowls of pomegranate? Do you understand that
Mhm.
everything was made with a seed? And this means that whatever was in it can be passed on from generation to
Right.
generation.
Right. Right.
This is why when we were cursed as a people, the sins of the father reflects on the son and on the son and on the son, because not
Mm-hmm.
only was the father cursed, but that which was inside of the father, his
Mm-hmm.
seed, was cursed. And you
Mm-hmm.
wonder why I tell you every day that when you pray, you don't only pray for yourself, but you pray back for your ancestors so that they can be relieved of the sins. Because if it worked forward, it'll work backwards. It's just how Yah is. All right, go ahead. You got something a lot?
No, just was saying. First of all, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And
Introduce yourself.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Sorry about the late, coming in. Had to take care of some business. Looking for one of the other brothers. But it's good to be here on the Shabbat, especially just starting off the Feast of Tabernacles. Hopefully, everybody's enjoying their tabernacles. But to add to what you were saying, brother Yemi, I was actually going over some of this stuff with my wife earlier about the importance of the man's seed and how important it is for us to break these generational curses by going back and identifying with our forefathers, the mistakes that they have made. We have the book, so we have to be able to go to the book and plug in ourselves into the book because we are the keys. We are the key not only to understand the prophecy, but we all also the key to giving salvation not only to us as a nation, but to give salvation to the whole world. We are called to be the high priest, to bring an atonement for the nations, like Hamashiach brought an atonement for us. So I just want to say thank you again for going over this lesson because again it just helps me uh, even understand my role even more so. So thank you.
We are the eternal priesthood.
That's right.
Israel was the priesthood or the first fruit of Yah. We are his first fruits.
Right.
And because we are the first fruit of the nations, it is our duty to go back and teach the nations.
That's right.
This is why I am so upset with the brothers that are on the corner bashing and criticizing the other nations when it is not our job to pass judgment, but to lead them into everlasting life.
That's right.
That is why judgment starts first in the house of Israel and then it moves to the other nations because you
Mm-hmm.
have to clean out your own house of its
Mm-hmm.
spots, its stains, its wrinkles before you can then minister to others.
Mm-hmm.
And ministry is not what you think it is. Ministry
That's
does
right.
not mean that you are served, it means that you are the servant.
That's right. That's right.
Why do you think we've been put in the role of a slave for so long? Because we had to learn how to serve.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. See,
All we
our people think that our captivity is all about judgment, but we are learning a lesson. It's not about just judgment. We are here to learn a lesson and also to redeem mankind back to the Most High. So yeah,
see the Messiah is our sacrifice.
right, right.
This boy, I'm about to go off. What we don't seem to understand is that the Messiah was our sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
He was our sacrifice to redeem Israel so that Israel could then be okay. Let me go through this real quick. When the priest got ready for atonement, the
Mm-hmm.
priesthood were ordered to sacrifice a bullock
Mm-hmm.
of the first year. And this bullock would then be used to atone the sins of the priest.
Mm-hmm.
Who better to be our sacrifice than the Son of Man?
Mm-hmm.
Who would be a better sacrifice for the priesthood or the royal priesthood than the Son of the Most High?
Well, to add to that, but we are the sons of the Most High too through the spirit of adoption.
So when you look at our brothers and sisters that are
Mm-hmm.
being killed in mass numbers,
Mm-hmm.
there are sacrifices being made of our blood
That's right.
daily,
Daily.
daily
Right.
sacrifices. And this is what we fail to realize.
Mm-hmm.
When our sacrifices are not without spot or wrinkle, even
Mm-hmm.
though but they have not committed the sins that they have been judged for. Remember
Mm-hmm.
this, the Messiah's sin that he was judged for, he did not commit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right. That's right.
So when we see people like Philando Castile and George Floyd being choked out and killed for crimes that they really didn't commit, unarmed men being shot down, unarmed women
Mm-hmm.
being shot down, you are being judged for crimes that you didn't commit, much like the Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Mm-hmm.
judging you or calling you the Messiah, but these things are trumpets to me. They're signs that blast off into my mind that are telling me, hey, look, you need to go back into the word and understand.
Well, think about this. Our forefathers, when the Messiah was crucified, the sins or the punishment, our forefathers said they were going to take those sins, and those sins was passed on to. He was hung on a tree. We were hung on a tree, right? He was hit with 40 slashes. Well, 50 slashes. We were hit with 50 slashes. So again, all the judgment that was put on the Messiah, we are asking for those things. We are the sons of and the daughters of the prophets. Those curses fell on us. You know, so we're fulfilling prophecy. In order to understand where we at and what's going on, you have to put the people back in their proper perspective. You have to put them in their proper order. In order to understand where we at, what's going on, and what time we in. And everybody keep overlooking Israel. Everybody keep trying to make the Ashkenazim Israel. You can't understand where you at and what's going on until you plug Israel back into it.
Correct. Correct. You ready, Art? You set?
Yeah. Did I? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to just one brief point. I don't know. I got cut out, but what Malak did touch on is that our forefathers made an oath there at the foot of the tree. Let his blood be upon us and our children.
Children.
And that was an oath that our forefathers made. And so that oath had to be performed. So not only are we not only are we being under the judgment as a result of the covenant, and not only are we being persecuted and even crucified to this very day because of in the name of Yah. But another aspect of that is that there was an oath that our forefathers placed upon us that in the sacrifice of Hamashiach, the son of the living Yah, that
Hmm.
we just flat out told Pilate, we have no king but Caesar. Caesar is our king, and let our blood be let take this man and let his blood be upon us and our children. And so again, as we read this word, and as Moreh Yemi says, there's so many this onion of truth, peeling back so many layers on this onion of truth, and that it's just amazing. The wisdom of the Father, and so I just wanted to add to that just a little bit. If you're ready, are you ready to start again?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to start at verse 18. Exodus 36. I'm going to pick up at verse 18. It says, "And he made 50 taches of brass to couple the tent together that it might be one. And he made a covering for the tent of ram skins dyed red, and a covering of badger skins above that. And he made boards for the tabernacle of shittim wood, standing up. The length of a board was 10 cubits, and the breadth of the board was 1 cubit and a half. One board had two tenons, equally distant one from another. Thus did he make for all the boards of the tabernacle. And he made the boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side, southward, 40 sockets of silver he made under the 20 boards, two sockets under one board for his two tenons, and two sockets under another board for his two tenons. And for the other side of the tabernacle, which is toward the north corner, he made 20 boards. And there 40 sockets of silver, two sockets under one board, and two sockets under another board. And for the sides of the tabernacle westward, he made 6 boards. And 2 boards made he for the corners of the tabernacle and the two sides. And they were coupled beneath and coupled together at the head thereof to one ring. Thus he did to both of them in both the corners. And there were 8 boards, and their sockets were 16 sockets of silver. Under every board, 2 sockets. And he made bars of shittim wood, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle for the sides westward. And he made the middle bar to shoot through the boards from the one end to the other. And he overlaid the boards with gold, and made their rings of gold to be places for the bars, and overlaid with the bars with gold. And he made a veil of blue and purple and scarlet, fine twined linen. With cherubims made he it of cunning work. And he made thereunto 4 pillars of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. Their hooks were of gold. And he cast for them 4 sockets of silver. And he made an hanging for the tabernacle door of blue and purple and scarlet, fine twined linen of needlework, and the 5 pillars of it with their hooks. And he overlaid their chapiters and their fillets with gold, but their 5 sockets were of brass. And that's the end of 36.
Let's go on to 37.
Exodus chapter 37. And Bezalel made the ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half was the length of it, and a cubit and a half the breadth of it, and a cubit and a half the height of it. And he overlaid it with pure gold within and without, and made a crown of gold to it round about. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold to be set by the 4 corners of it, even 2 rings upon the one side of it, 2 rings upon the other side of it. He made staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with gold. And he put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark to bear the ark. And he made the mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And he made 2 cherubims of gold, beaten out of one piece made he them, on the 2 ends of the mercy seat. 1 cherub on the end on this side, and another cherub on the end on that side. Out of the mercy seat made he the cherubims on the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubims spread out their wings on high, and covered with their wings over the mercy seat, with their faces one to another, even to the mercy seatward were the faces of the cherubims. And he made the table of shittim wood. 2 cubits was the length thereof, and a cubit and a breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half of the height thereof. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and made thereunto a crown of gold round about. And he made thereunto a border of an handbreadth round about, and made a crown of gold for the border thereof round about. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold. He put the rings upon the 4 corners that were in the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border were the rings, the places for the staves to bear the table. And he made the staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with gold to bear the table. And he made the vessels which were upon the table, his dishes and his spoons and his bowls and his covers, to cover with of pure gold. And he made the candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work, made he the candlestick. His shaft and his branch, his bowls, his knops, and his flowers were of the same. And 6 branches going out of the sides thereof, 3 branches of the candlestick out of one side thereof, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side thereof. 3 bowls made after the fashion of almonds in one branch, a knot and a flower, and 3 bowls made like almonds in another branch, a knot and a flower. So throughout the 6 branches going out of the candlestick, and in the candlestick were 4 bowls made like almonds, his knops and his flowers, and a knot unto under 2 branches of the same, and a knot under 2 branches of the same, and a knot under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches going out of it. Their knops and their branches were of the same. All of it was one beaten work of pure gold. And he made his 7 lamps and his snuffers and his snuff dishes of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold he made it, and all the vessels thereof. And he made the incense altar of shittim wood. The length of it was a cubit, the breadth of it a cubit. It was 4 square, and 2 cubits was the height of it. The horns thereof were of the same. And he overlaid it with pure gold, both the top of it and the sides thereof round about, and the horns of it. He also made it unto a crown of gold round about. And he made 2 rings of gold for it under the crown thereof, by the 2 corners of it, upon the 2 sides thereof, to be places for the staves to bear it withal. And he made the staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with gold. And he made the holy anointing oil and the pure incense of sweet spices, according to the work of the apothecary. That's the end of 37.
On 38. We only
Go
got
on to
to
38.
40.
Chapter 38. And he made the altar of burnt offering of shittim wood. 5 cubits was the length thereof, 5 cubits the breadth thereof. It was 4 square, and 3 cubits the height thereof. And he made the horns thereof on the 4 corners of it, and the horns thereof were of the same, and he overlaid it with brass. And he made all the vessels of the altar, the pots, and the shovels, and the basins, and the flesh hooks, the fire pans, all the vessels thereof made he of brass. And he made for the altar a brazen grate of network under the compass thereof, beneath unto the midst of it. And he cast four rings for the four ends of the gate of brass, to be places for the staves. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with brass. And he put the staves into the rings on the sides of the altar to bear it withal. He made the altar hollow with boards. And he made the laver of brass, and the foot of it brass, of the looking glasses of the women assembling, which assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he made the court on the south side southward. The hangings of the court were of fine twined linen, 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their brazen sockets 20. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. And the north side, the hangings were 100 cubits, and their pillars were 20, and their sockets of brass 20, and the hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. And for the west side were hangings of 50 cubits, their pillars 10, their sockets 10, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the east side, eastward 50 cubits. The hangings of the one side of the gate were 15 cubits, their pillars 3, their sockets 3. And for the other side of the court gate on his hand, on this hand and that hand were hangings of 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. All the hangings of the court round about were of fine twined linen, and the sockets for the pillars were of brass, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver, and the overlaying of their chapiters of silver. All the pillars of the court were filleted with silver, and the hanging for the gate of the court was needlework of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, and 20 cubits was the length, and the height and the breadth was 5 cubits, answerable to the hangings of the court. And their pillars were 4, and their sockets of brass 4, their hooks of silver, and the overlaying of their chapiters, and their fillets of silver. And all the pins of the tabernacle and of the court round about were of brass. This is the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of testimony, as it was counted according to the commandment of Moses, for the service of the Levites by the hand of Ithamar, the son of Aaron, the priest, and Bezaleel, the son of Uri, and of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all that Yahweh commanded Moses. And with him was Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver, and a cunning workman, and an embroiderer in blue, and in purple, and in scarlet, and fine linen. All the gold that was occupied for the work, and all the work of the holy place, even the gold of the offering, was 29 talents, and 730 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver of them that were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents, and 1,703 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. A bekah for every man, that is half a shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary, for everyone that went to be numbered from 20 years old and upward, was 600,000 and 305,050 men. And of the 100 talents of silver were cast, the sockets of the sanctuary and the sockets of the veil, 100 sockets of the 100 talents, a talent for a socket. And of the 1,775 shekels, he made hooks for the pillars, and overlaid their chapiters, and filleted them. And the brass of the offering was 70 talents, and 2,400 shekels. And therewith he made the sockets to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the brazen altar, and the brazen gate for it, and all the vessels of the altar, and the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about. Chapter 39. And of the blue and purple and scarlet they made cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he made the ephod of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into thin plates and cut it into wires to work it in the blue and in the purple and in the scarlet and in the fine linen with cunning work. They made shoulder pieces for it to couple it together. By the two edges was it coupled there together. And the curious girdle of his ephod that was up on it was of the same, according to the work thereof, of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, fine twined linen, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And they wrought onyx stones enclosed in ouches of gold, graven as signets are graven, with the names of the children of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for a memorial to the children of Israel, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he made the breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue, purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. It was four square. They made the breastplate double. A span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof, being doubled. And they set in it four rows of stones. The first row was a sardius, a topaz, and a carbuncle. This was the first row. The second row, an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row, a ligure and an agate, and an amethyst. And fourth row, a beryl, and an onyx, and a jasper. They were enclosed in ouches of gold in their enclosings. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12, according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, every one with his name according to the 12 tribes. I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to say something. Our names and the names of our families and the name, our heritage is written in stone.
Precious stone.
This ain't no religious book. You won't find another religious book that goes into this amount of detail about the tabernacle. Now, we're talking about the tabernacle. We're talking about a tent. Basically, it was a tent that they picked up and they were able to move across the desert. And you look at the specifications. Let me use this word. This word. The specs of the building. The Father gave the specs to Moses, and Moses shared the specifications of the building and the furnishings and the uniforms of the priest. I mean, the garments, I mean, the uniforms, but the garments of the priest to the exact specifications that he gave to Moses, he gave to us. And so anybody that tells you that this book is a fairy tale or fiction, they are out of their minds. Let me keep reading. Unless you have something to say, Moray.
Yeah, let me go ahead. Go ahead now. I'll close it.
Check this out, Doc. If you notice, as he's going over the description and the details of not only the menorah, but over the ephod and everything, he named for the east gate, the west gate, the south
Yes,
gate,
sir.
the north gate.
Mm-hmm.
This is the directions we were scattered at. So that let you know again, he's still pointing towards us all being priests, even in our captivity.
Yes.
He's also
And the symmetry of the building, the symmetry of the structure.
He's also showing that there is a path back home for us.
There you go.
And I want you to understand something, and this is something, this is one of those lies that the church has been saying. There is no Gentile gate. There was no stone on the breastplate for the Gentile.
I just had this conversation again with my wife last week. If I have the mail coming to my address with my name on it, how can anybody just come to my house and claim my house? So if the children of Israel name is on the gate, how is it that all these religions keep talking about they are the people? This is about a nation. This is not about your religion. This is about a nation. The nation's address, the nation's name is on the deed, on the property.
Once again,
the nation.
Once again, we go to Second Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from them from heaven and answer their prayers and heal their land. he was telling you right there, you're gonna be scattered.
Mm-hmm.
But if you turn back to Jerusalem and you seek my face and turn from your wicked ways, I'm gonna hear from you. I'm gonna hear you from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And not only am I gonna heal you, but I'm gonna heal your land because your land has taken on the same characteristics as you.
Mm-hmm. Desolate. Yeah.
Desolate, destitute, and broken, and
Mm-hmm.
inhabited by things that it should be inhabited by. Don't
Mm-hmm.
you got to understand? We have been inhabited by a Western mindset, but so has the land.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We've got impersonators in the land dying of skin cancer and buying up all the dang sunscreen.
Mm-hmm.
The book has to fit the people that it was written about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
replacement theology. They have definitely, Gabrielle, tried to replace us in everything. But they remember what it says that we will no longer be the tail, but we will be the head again. And remember what it tells us that, we gonna stop coming in one way and being scattered seven. We gonna come back to our senses and receive the first part of Deuteronomy 28, which are the blessings.
Mm-hmm.
But it all depends on us to waking up. And like I said, once again, there were 12 gates. Those were for the 12 tribes of Israel. They did not have, and once again, I say this, they didn't have a Gentile gate. You better hope you get grafted into something, or you're going to be on the outside of that party too.
Outside looking in, huh?
Okay? That's the purpose of the gate, is to keep those things outside that are supposed to be outside and those things that are inside to be in. It is to allow
Mm-hmm.
passage temporarily. A gate allows temporary passage. But once them gates are closed, it is what it is. Go ahead and finish out.
I'm going to pick up at 15. And they made up, Exodus 39, verse 15, and they made upon the breastplate chains at the ends of wreathen work of pure gold. And they made 2 ounces of gold and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings in the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 wreathen chains of gold in the 2 rings on the ends of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains they fastened into the 2 ouches, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And they made 2 rings of gold, and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate, upon the border of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. And they made 2 other golden rings, and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath, toward the forepart of it, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplate by his rings unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate might not be loosed from the ephod, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he made the robe of the ephod woven work, all of blue. And there was a hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of a habergeon, with a band round about the hole, that it should not rend. And they made upon the hems of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between the pomegranates. A bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate, round about the hem of the robe, to minister in, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And they made the coats of fine linen, of woven work, for Aaron and for his sons, and a mitre of fine linen, and goodly bonnets of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine twined linen, and a girdle of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet of needlework, and as Yahweh commanded Moses. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing like unto the engravings of a signet, holiness unto Yahweh. And they tied unto it a lace of blue, to fasten it on high upon the mitre, as Yahweh commanded Moses. Thus was all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation finished. And the children of Israel did according to all that Yahweh commanded Moses, so did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moses, the tent, and all his furniture, his taches, his boards, his bars, and his pillars, his sockets, and the covering of ram's skin dyed red, and the covering of badger skins, and the veil of covering, and the ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat, the table, and all the vessels thereof, and the showbread, the pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for the light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle door, the brazen altar, and his gate of brass, his staves, and all his vessels, the laver and his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars, his sockets, and the hanging for the court gate, his cords, and his pins, and all the vessels of service of the tabernacle for the tent of congregation, the cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and the holy garments for Aaron, the priest, and his sons, garments to minister in the priest's office, according to all that Yahweh commanded Moses. So the children of Israel made all the work. And Moses did look upon all the work, and behold, they had done it. They had done it as Yahweh had commanded. Even so they had done it, and Moses blessed them. Exodus chapter 40. And Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, on the first day of the first month shalt thou set up the tabernacle of the tent of congregation, and thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with the veil. And thou shalt bring in the table, and set in order the things that are to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring in the candlestick, and the light, and the lamps thereof. And thou shalt set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, to put the hanging of the door to the tabernacle. Thou shalt set the altar of the burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of congregation. And thou shalt set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and thou shalt put water therein. And thou shalt set up the court round about, and hang up the hanging at the court gate. And thou shalt take the anointing oil, and anoint the tabernacle and all that is therein, and shalt hallow it, and all the vessels thereof, and it shall be holy. And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering, and all his vessels, and sanctify the altar, and it shall be an altar most holy. And thou shalt anoint the laver and his foot, and sanctify it. And thou shalt bring Aaron and his sons into the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and wash them with water. And thou shalt put upon Aaron the holy garments, and anoint him, and sanctify him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And thou shalt bring his sons, and clothe them with coats. And thou shalt anoint them as thou didst anoint their father, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office, for their anointing shall surely be in an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. Thus did Moses according to all that Yahweh commanded him, so did he. And it came to pass in the first month, in the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up. And Moses reared up the tabernacle, and fastened his sockets, and set up the boards thereof, and put in the bars thereof, and reared up his pillars. And he spread abroad the tent over the tabernacle, and put the coverings of the tent above upon it, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he took and put the testimony into the ark, and set the staves on the ark, and put the mercy seat above upon the ark. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the covering, and covered the ark of the testimony, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he put the table in the tent of the congregation upon the side of the tabernacle northward, without the veil. And he set the bread in order upon it before Yahweh, as Yahweh had commanded Moses. And he put the candlestick in the tent of the congregation over against the table on the side of the tabernacle southward. And he lighted the lamps before Yahweh, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil. And he burnt sweet incense thereon, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he set up the hanging at the door of the tabernacle. And he put the altar of burnt offering by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the meat offering, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and put water therein to wash withal. And Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat. When they went into the tent of the congregation, and when they came near unto the altar, they washed, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And he reared up the court round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moses finished the work. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of Yahweh filled the tabernacle. And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation because the cloud abode thereon, and the glory of Yahweh filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not until that day that it was taken up. For the cloud of Yahweh was upon the tabernacle by day, and the fire was upon it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all of their journeys. Amen.
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 So this has been Exodus, all 40 chapters, and it has been not only a pleasure but a joy to share this with you, to serve you in the priest office during these few months that it took for us to go through this. I do want to tell you that this has been enriching for me. I know it's been good for Brother Malak and Brother Joe as well, or Brother Yosef. We're just grateful for you coming and listening. Starting next week, we will go into Genesis. Y'all get ready, man, because when you start looking at when you look at the first two chapters, we may be in the first two chapters for a month. I'm just gonna be honest with you, because the first two chapters of Genesis, you can't get 3 and 4 until you firmly understand chapter 1 and 2. And the Father has been leaning on me to break it down to you in the Hebraic language. But not only that, but I gotta share with you not only the truth, but I gotta share with you the lies that have gotten you in the position that you're in now. So I'm gonna break it down, and it's gonna be really finite the way I do it. So thank you to Brother Malak, thank you to Brother Yosef for the time that you spent here with us. Um, all the things you could have been doing, and y'all came through to help me, and I am grateful. I'm more than grateful for y'all helping me do the work of the Father. Um, y'all have anything?
Well, one of the things I just wanted to say, Ak, was number one, it's been uh, a pleasure, and it's been a wealth of knowledge, going through Exodus, helping actually increase my understanding even more so. One of the things that really stuck out with me doing these last few chapters, especially what we just went over today, was dealing with a lot of the wealth that our people had, and we still have. We're not only wealthy from a material standpoint, but we're wealthy with the blessing of being in this covenant, that the Most High gave our forefathers. And as I thought about the ephod, the breastplate, it made me think about the brothers doing, the brothers doing in the 80s, man, with the big old medallions, man, on their chest. we always did we always did like gold, man, you know what I'm saying? So we real flashy, man. And also looking at the menorah, man, the menorah. And the thing about it that jumps out to me, man, is there's this mural in England that they have in Rome when they invaded Israel, they took the menorah. So these people just arrogantly, man, how they just show how they conquered us and they took our wealth and took our identity. So for me, man, it really make me really it humbles me to really appreciate the fact that the Most High allowed me to even hear His voice when there's many of
Mm.
our forefathers, our ancestors, man, that never had this. So for me, I'm just humbled by it, man. So I want to thank you, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank the whole ARC family, Fresno, Yosh, Dallas, Houston. I want to thank everybody, man, because again, this is some glorious times, man. So we all need to be honored by the fact that the Most High allowed us to hear His voice. So that's all I want to say.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, I just wanted to share again, just remembering going back to the book of Revelation, and this is true of the entire word, that there's a blessing in just reading the word. And I want to thank you, More Yemi, for allowing me to accompany you through this book, and to the ARC, DFW, and to the family worldwide for walking with us through this book, which is what we've been commanded to do: to read the book, to love the book, to love the words in the book, and to know the book. And we can't know if we don't read it. And so it's just been a blessing and a privilege just to be a part of this, and looking forward to going back through Genesis, and walking through Genesis, much the same manner that we walked through the book of Exodus. Todah Rabbah to the Most High, and to my brothers and sisters, Hebrew Israelite family, to those grafted in, and to my brothers and sisters in the art. It's been a privilege. Todah Rabbah.
So as we get ready to go, as we get ready to close, I'm just so tickled, man. I'm gonna say something. When we go into the book of Genesis, to all you people that are in the sound of our voice right now, I want you to clear your mind of everything that you've been taught. Um, I'm asking this as a request because Brother Malak, Brother Yosef can tell you, a partial lie is a whole lie, and a partial truth is a whole lie. And
Hmm.
so we are going to walk you through the book so you can see where you have been lied to. This is important in the process
Hmm.
of awakening. Um, I'm kind of tickled because it reminds me of the movie The Matrix. Um,
Yeah.
I guess I got to play the role of Morpheus. And we giving out red pills around here. And so if you don't want to go any further down the rabbit hole, and if this, I beg that, I hope that you do. But if you don't, this is your exit before we start going down the rabbit hole any further. And I'm telling you, I'm laying this out to you because there's
Hmm.
no greater reward of waking up than wanting to be awoke. But if you don't want to be awoke and you doing this just to see what we're doing, you are going to go enter into conflict with yourself, and it's going to be painful. This journey is going to be painful, like labor pains. It's painful enough for those who are seeking the knowledge to be awoke, because you're going through this, you're wrestling with this I've been lied to complex. But if you
Hmm.
are still going through this and you are holding on to the lie, you are making a decision to turn yourself away from the word of Yah. And I am warning you, I am giving you the warning on the label of the pills. This may cause headaches. This may cause sleepless nights. This may
Hmm.
cause upset stomach. This may cause diarrhea, because this word is going to come in and out of you any way that it can. Once you receive it, you are responsible for giving it out. And I'm telling y'all this because I love you and I don't want you to be in a position that I was in so many years ago, holding on to the truth and still trying to teach the gospel of the church. It's a painful experience to learn the truth and be afraid to leave out of a building that wasn't even commissioned by the Father.
Yeah.
Somebody else drew those blueprints. There's a blueprint for his house in the book. All those other places that you go ain't his. I didn't see no blueprint for Peaceful Rest CME Baptist Church. I ain't see no blueprints for Holy Mission Church number 2 in this book. You just saw how he wanted his tabernacle built. You didn't see they tell you to put no cross and no pictures up in there. All that is from man, and all of it goes against it goes against Torah. It goes against the 10 Commandments. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you this because I love you. I'm not telling you this because I want to be a smart butt. I'm just telling you this because this is to feed your mind as well as your heart, because Yah is coming back for his people. And I hope that all of you that are listening will come in. To Brother Steve and the Sister Antoinette, our prayers and our love are continuously going out to you. I may, don't charge me for getting to say your names as I ain't thinking about you. That's just not how I operate. But I do move in the Ruach, and I get so caught up and so wrapped up in the spirit sometimes when I teach this that I be forgetting. And I appreciate what you have done for this ministry, for us, with your time, with your kind words, with your love that you have shown me and my wife, and all these things. Um, y'all got to understand, I'm a very private person when it comes to my time and my placement, because I'm sensitive. I'm spiritually sensitive. And I don't like to be really disturbed from where I'm at, because I want to be in a position to hear when he speaks. So don't think that it's that I'm ignoring you or I'm trying to be antisocial. It's just that that is how I function. I only function in places where, let me rephrase that because that could come out real wrong. I was about to say I can only feel function in places that I feel comfortable. That's not it. I only function well in places where I know I can receive from him. And so I stay at home a lot because I sit down and I try to hear from him, because I have a mission to give what I hear to you. And I don't have no mountains to go climb up like Yosh does, and I ain't got no place to go get lost like Yosh does. My place of getting lost is that game room that y'all pass before y'all go into my front room. That's my place of getting lost. And my wife will tell you, my daughter will tell you, I rarely leave that place except to go to work and to go to sleep. So don't charge it to my heart. I haven't been to Austin. I haven't been to my in-laws' house in almost 3 years. So that ought to show you exactly where I am with this walk. I haven't been to my parents' house since my father died, or since, well, actually since my ex-wife died. So that's where I'm at with this walk. I'm bedding down. I'm all in. I'm like a poker hand. I'm all in on this. And so don't take it as I'm being antisocial. I don't want any of y'all to think that. And I know y'all be like, Yemi don't never go nowhere. It ain't you, it's me. I'm not trying to avoid you. I just need to be in a place where I can hear. So I'm done. I love y'all. I thank you for your time. Um, I thank you for your love, y'all. To my brothers and sisters out there, all of y'all. I'm gonna pray us out. Um, if y'all don't mind. Shema Israel, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah Echad. Elohim, we thank you for this Shabbat. We thank you for this high holy Shabbat as we enter into Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacles. We thank you for your blessed spirit, your Ruach HaKodesh. We thank you for your blessed Son, Yeshua HaMashiach. We thank you for the Word that was made flesh and manifested itself and dwelt amongst us, or tabernacled with us, this season. And we ask that your word would never be too far from our minds and from our hearts. We ask that we would be a vessel that you can use for your service, that we would be able to touch the minds and the hearts of millions as they listen to the gospel being spoke. God, thank you for the charge that you've given me and my brothers Malak and my brother Yosef. And we ask that our threefold cord not be easily broken, and that we stand firmly together as we go through these lessons. Father Yah, give us the
Hallelujah.
words to say. And in your name we pray. Hallelujah.
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 All right. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat
family.
shalom.
And y'all have a great rest of your day.
Hallelujah.
Peace.
Shabbat shalom.